Stop the cap.
Not date a billionaire because I've definitely dated guys before who made a lot more than I did. Like now I don't have that experience. Like when I first moved to New York and I was just a college student and working like normal jobs, I don't like feeling like anyone has anything over me. And I think when a guy knows that he can give you a life that you can't give yourself, I don't even think that some guys do it intentionally to be like cruel or anything, but like there's a certain level of I can kind of do this, you can't really touch me because I know that if we break up tomorrow, like you're gonna have to go back to some life that you're not gonna like. And so I want whoever I'm with, the lifestyle we have together is not anything that I can't provide for myself. I always tell girls like have your own stuff. Like I'm not asking for anything more than what I have because I don't ever want to be in a situation where you feel like you've given me anything. Like we're equals. I want an equal partnership. I think if you marry solely for money, you don't marry for the person seeing you as an equal and like really respecting you and your wishes, you will pay for it forever.
Kaptansolo said this years ago, and he is 100% vindicated. That's what I talked about when I brought up the point about all this oversharing going on online. When black women come online and they talk about whether they want to label it as misandry or whether they want to say, oh, black men hate black women, when it comes to black men criticizing black women, and when it comes to black men having verifiable receipts of what the black manosphere has been saying, that video clip is a prime example. I mean, just point blank period. I mean, this goes back to the, anytime a man is doing better than me, I got to reevaluate myself. I don't mind allowing a man to believe that he's in a position of power, even though I know he's really not. Right? This goes into a black man can't do anything without the strength of a black woman. Yeah, of course, if you're intentionally getting with guys that are beneath you so that you can feel superior, so that you can not feel as though he can leave you, right? That he can just, walk away and he's got more than what you got. So you're left there feeling some type of way, having to downgrade, your lifestyle. As the one woman said, I don't like a man to be able to take me or leave me. I mean, these women are running towards the dust. You hear all this rhetoric about, oh, black men don't have their shit together. Oh, the black community is broken. Oh, black men this, black men that. And here you have an educated woman, not a belligerent woman, not a ratchet woman, not a Sukihana, not a sexy red. This goes back to that video that Kaptansolo did a long time ago called No Belligerence, which I think is in my videos. Here you have a woman basically saying that she feels uncomfortable when a man has more than what she's got going on. She's competing with her man. And this is what we've been saying. How do you ever expect to fix a community? How do you ever expect to lay these patriarchal responsibilities at the feet of black men? And don't get me wrong, it is an inescapable responsibility for men. But when you're actively avoiding men being in that position, what gives black women the right to complain and file complaints against black men when it comes to black men pursuing relationships outside the race or not pursuing any relationship at all with a black woman? It's like the idea is to keep us in this perpetual state, this perfect state of limbo. When you're dusty, it's a problem. When you have more resources than what they got going on, it's a problem. This goes back to what I said about my issue with the Title IV and Title IX. You go into an inner city black school. Oh, what's the problem? The boys are failing. Oh, the girls are doing rings around the laps of Saturn. They're killing it. They're going to the moon and back. Okay, I guess we need to focus on the boards. Let's look at the boys. Let's look at some federal funding to help support the boys and get them up to snuff, since they're the ones that are behind and they're the ones that are failing. And like clockwork, you're going to have some misandrous black feminists come into the room and start talking about how, girls need to have an equal amount of funding too. I'm like, do you need the funding? Well, no, because we're over here doing laps around the rings of Saturn, and actually we're projected to be out by the Kuiper Belt next week. Right? Okay, so why do you need to match what the boys have going on? I already know the answer. Why? Because they want to maintain the status quo. This is black women. Black women want to maintain this gap. They don't want the gap between black men and black women to be closed, even though in reality, when you go into the dollar amount, how many black men have businesses that actually generate money and have employees, like it's way more black men than black women. When you go into who's making more six figures, it's more black men than black women, right? But the key thing is that the gap between black men and black women, I would argue, is smaller than the gap between, let's say, Asian men and their women or white men and their women, right? But black women are actively trying to keep this gap close, even though they file complaints about the things that are broken in the community. They want somehow to, when it comes to even dating and complain about the quality of men and, there's not enough hypergamy going on, right? But yet they're actively avoiding the men that have it together because, as I've said numerous times, they don't like the power dynamic. This is not a fixable problem. This is not a black male problem when you have men that are in the position and you have women who are actively avoiding them because they don't like the power dynamic. You can talk about men getting it together all they want. And I do encourage that. I don't care what woman you have on your arm. As a black man, I don't care. It should be a black woman in the grand scheme of things when we're talking about fixing the black community. But no, at this point, I don't care. And the video clip in this video highlights why I don't care. These women are screaming about dust. They're literally actively running towards the dust storm because they feel more comfortable dealing with the dust. This is why the whole concept, and Kaptansolo, he really drove this point home, about how the black community has it backwards, where we feel like, oh, well, a chick isn't down for you unless she's with you when you have nothing. Again, women like the woman that you heard at the beginning of this video, they want you to have nothing because they feel most comfortable with that dynamic. They don't want to be with a man that can say it is the way. Okay? They don't want to be with a man that says, I have spoken. I'm speaking now, Kamala Harris style. They don't want that. Even though they want you to go out there and win a race war and conquer the world and, whatever else that they want to use as the prerequisite for justification as to, what you need to do in order for them to follow your leadership, which they don't want to do. They just present you with these, impossible busy assignments, these impossible, a task so that they can keep you in a perpetual state of you're not good enough. Even though if you were good enough, they don't like the way that situation makes them feel. So what do? They avoid it. Go and find a guy that's dustier. Go and find a guy that has less. So while black men are running around thinking she ain't down unless she's with me when I have nothing, no. The real sign of a black woman that is down, get your shit together and have everything that you need, and then see how she acts. Then see how much she cooperates. See, if you don't have anything for her to cooperate with, right, you can't gauge how cooperative of a woman she is. She can tell you that she's down for you and all this other stuff when you don't have anything. What the problem that a lot of brothers, where a lot of black men make the mistake, is they assume that when she's doing all that because she has some pure, unadulterated love for you. No, she's doing that because she recognizes that she has power in that situation. And that's what you all miss. Many black men miss that fact. If you want to determine and be able to gauge how much a black woman is submissive or cooperative, have your motherfucking shit together. And then you will see just how much she's not down, for you. Then you'll see just how much, how uncooperative she is. Then you'll see just how much resistance you're going to be met with, because she doesn't like the idea of you having a house and she has a 2-bedroom apartment. And if you all were to break up, she would have to go back to her 2-bedroom apartment, or worse, move back in with her peoples. Despite all of the rhetoric that we hear about, oh, there's just so much dust in the air. Oh, black men, they don't have their stuff together. And that's why I don't have anything to pick from. That's why I went out here and had a baby by a Dusty and now I'm a single mom. No, they do not like the power dynamic when it comes to being with men that have power. Point blank, period. They have their shit together. And truth be told, this even spills into the interracial relationships. It's one of the main reasons why black women are not interested in interracially dating when it comes to other men, because you're dealing with real patriarchy over there. You're dealing with a whole community that's going to back up that man, when it comes to, the woman stepping out of pocket or doing something crazy. If you can get past all the racism, get past all the racial shit. Point blank, period. Those communities are patriarchal. You cannot go over there and just do whatever the hell it is that you want to do. You cannot leverage your original Earth Mother goddess, woman status. You can't leverage that shit. You can't use Afrocentric shaming tactics that you just made up on the fly, talking about divine female principles and the Womeriverse and how matrilineal ancient Africa was and that patriarchy is Eurocentric. You can't use that outside the black community. You see? But these women come in with all this, oh, I'm down for you, and I hold my man down. But yet she has all the keys. She has all the power. And you got black men silly-minded enough to sit out here and try to argue and say, yeah, man, she down for me. I don't want a gold digger. That's the problem. There's too many gold diggers out here. And you ain't got no gold to dig. We have been saying this all this time that we have been online, Kaptansolo and myself, telling brothers they got to get their shit together before they conduct themselves in a relationship. And you will be able, not only will you be able to see and identify just how uncooperative these women are, you have 100% justifiable green light to go wherever the fuck you want to go after that point. See, when you don't have your shit together, you're in a compromised position. You can't test what she's not down with at that point, because everything that you're talking about doing is in the abstract. You can't do it right now. Okay, you can't make that move. You can't pick up your things and move to the other side of the country. You can't buy that property right now. But see, when you're making moves, hey, chick, I got economic opportunities out here in Seattle. Guess where guess where she's got to go? She got to go with you to Seattle. Again, if we're talking about black women dating up and dating hypergamously, right? I mean, it's the weirdest thing in the world when you look at it. Even when you get into all the other stuff that black women claim that they want, the validation. I want to be chosen. I want to be chosen by a black man that's got status. That's part of the reason why this whole Travis Hunter thing is an issue for black women in particular. Because here you got this light-skinned biracial exotic with a black mother, right? That it always seems like the light-skinned girls are winning and the dark-skinned, women ain't winning. The brown-skinned women ain't women. Just, the unracially ambiguous black women, they're not winning. How are they supposed to win if you have a brown-skinned black woman like the woman at the beginning of this video? How are these brown-skinned, the dark-skinned sisters supposed to win over the light-skinned exoticals and the white girls and everything else when you have a woman thinking and operating like this? And then being aware of that information, why would any black man choose that? Why would he choose violence in his own relationship? Why would he choose a woman that's literally going to view him as competition, right? When the rhetoric is that if a black man has himself together, then therefore, he's established and he's successful, and it is somehow like a reward to black women for him choosing the black woman, because the black woman and her beauty and her womb and all that is the prize, right? That's supposed to be the prize. And not only that, there's a reciprocity there where him choosing that black woman validates her beauty, validates the value of black women, especially, in contrast, and in front of other races of women. Like the woman came online, a long time ago, and where she said, when we walk in the room, we don't feel like we're the first choice. When there's other races around, black women don't feel like they're the first choice, right? But how can you be the first choice of high value black men when all you're going to do is sabotage or avoid, these type of men because you don't like the power dynamic? And all you're going to do is run around and say, oh, it was colorism. No, it wasn't colorism. It was the fact that you didn't want to get with the program. It was the fact that you didn't like the idea of him being able to take you or leave you, like what this woman said in this video clip. Feminism and bell hooks done got to your head and told you, oh, it's all about this fake ass equality. You all want men that are alphas. They're in the position. They're dominant, hyper masculine, everything else, right? You want powerful black men that are somehow going to hand you over the levers of power. And that's why it doesn't work. He's got to go out there and fight the entire rest of the world. He's got to fight corporate America. He's got to fight racism, right? He's got to fight discrimination. He's got to fight out that, all of that, get it out the mud, be successful in a system that was not designed with him in mind as a beneficiary. And then you think at the end of the day, he's going to come home and then hand the keys over to you. You're out of your mind. But again, Kaptansolo, because he was the first one to say it, Kaptansolo has been 100% vindicated. He said this, what, 15 years ago, 10, 15 years ago? Kaptansolo said this, he laid this shit out. You see? And now, what are we left with at this point? What do you do with this information? See, this is the part that sisters don't tell when they get up on these panels and they start talking about, oh, there's so much dust in the room, and oh, why are black women so single? And like I said, always talking about their singleness, but not talking about how many of them are actually mothers, even in their early 20s. Way before young black men can even go to college, graduate, get their career started, right? And really start making money. By the time those brothers come out, black women are already mothers. Most black women are already mothers. But yet they think we're going to have a serious conversation about why brothers ain't choosing black women and just sum it all up with colorism and self-hatred. Nah. It would be more colorism and self-hatred if this didn't exist, if what you saw at the beginning of this video didn't exist. Oh yeah, black women would have the most solid argument ever. But with this going on, colorism be damned. Self-hatred be damned. Even if he were to choose you, how would that relationship go? How would that, he wants you, you beautiful, everything else. We don't have to talk about colorism, self-hatred, nothing. But why would this relationship fail? This relationship would fail because she thinks that she's going to be able to pull her dick out and lay it on his forehead. She thinks that she's going to be able to call shots in the relationship and he's just going to go along with it. She wants to, at the very least, have veto power in the relationship where his resources are used to fund their lifestyle together as a couple, but her resources are exclusively used to buck his authority, to buck his decisions, to buck the idea of him having final say. And you all are talking about the main responsibility to fix the black community is the black man's response. How is he going to do that linking up with a woman who thinks like this? How is he supposed to take lead and take charge and handle all the responsibilities with a woman who thinks like this? And the thing is, you can say, oh, it's just one woman. No, this is, the culmination of what we've been saying. This is just caught. This is us catching a mermaid. This elusive creature that women come online and they deny. But again, we have all other receipts. There's plenty of other receipts. Ebony K. Williams isn't going to be in the south of France. Ebony K. Williams is going to be in L.A., filming her show. Ebony K. Williams is going to be in the south of France at the lawyers' convention. You see, and many other examples that I can't think of off the top of my head, but there's many other examples, of these women making these points about avoiding men that have themselves established because they don't like the power dynamic. And what's so crazy is they really don't recognize what they're actually saying. Like, they know what they're saying, but they don't recognize how damaging it is. Just like that girl on, episode 57, We Need to Talk. I'm going to have my house and he's going to have his. What? I'm going to have my house and he's going to have his house. Go watch that episode. I think it's episode 57 and episode, I want to say 23. And that chick. Again, if y'all want to just say you uncomfortable with black male leadership, fine. But to sit there and say to sit there and argue because essentially it's a busy assignment, argue that the only way that you're going to submit is if X, Y, and Z in the community is corrected, and then the men that even would have the capabilities to correct it, you avoid. I'm sorry, ladies, but, you're at least 50% of the problem in that regard, right? Like, if we want to say, oh, there's a problem with black men getting their shit together, okay, fine. But then when we talk about, oh, the black community is broken and we need more men in such and such a position, and then we come to find out that you're avoiding those men, you are literally 50% of the problem. No group of men can fix it. You're 50% of the community. The community is made of men, women, and children. Actually, that would be a third of the community. But if we exclude children until they're born, you're 50% of the community because it takes man and woman to make child. So regardless of how awesome he is, if you don't want to get with the program, then what can be done? And y'all talk all this nonsense about 50-50, but we've seen time and time again, y'all don't want 50-50. What you want is a situation where he takes on the lion's share of, again, the lifestyle responsibilities. So he's supposed to put you on this pedestal and, you got people feeding you grapes and whatnot. Okay. But you retain power in the relationship, usually through your whatever career that you do have that is less than his. You use all 100% of your resources to buck any major decision that he wants to make. That's what you use your resource. You use your resources, for an exit plan. And knowing that, being aware of that, why would any black man consciously walk into a situation like that? With a woman that has that mindset. See, now we're getting into mindsets. There's certain mindsets that people have. You're not going to change how they think. They however long it's taken for them to develop that mindset, it's not going to change overnight just because you show up and you're kicking ass and you heard, through the grapevine that the problem is that black men aren't here. And then you get there and only to discover that these women are not interested in the men that are there. They may want the shine or the spotlight of the men in that space. They may want the attention of the men in that space. They may want the validation of the men in that space. They may want the desirability of the men in that space, but they do not want to deal with the day-to-day operations of dealing with the men in that space, where her role is essentially being his support or helpmate or what do they call it? The handmaiden. That's what these women don't want to be. Despite all the shit that they talk, despite all the sprinkle and black women should be living a lifestyle of luxury. How are you supposed to live at the lifestyle of luxury that's at the expense of the black man that you're supposedly are supposed to be with? He's supposed to choose you because of he just is enamored with the beauty of the black woman, but you're actively avoiding him because you don't like the fine print that comes with being with a black man in that sort of position. How are you supposed to link up with him? He's coming towards you. You're literally running away in the direction of the supposed dust that you complain about. This goes back to what David Banner said back in, I think it was like 2010, where David Banner was like, it was the BET summit. And he was like, you all complain about the men that you love to date. And that was one of the realest things that David Banner ever said. And the women, they didn't want to hear it because it seems crazy. It seems insane, the idea, with all the complaining that black women have done over the decades. It seems insane that they would actively avoid men that have it together. And there's many reasons, other reasons, why they avoid men that have it together. They don't want to have to live up to their standards. The fact that the black woman's inadequacies will immediately bubble to the surface. Her failures will bubble to the surface. What she hasn't accomplished will bubble to the surface. All of which does not align with the doing laps around the rings of Saturn narrative that has been pumped and pushed out in the black community about how well black women are doing. It's almost akin to how white folks feel when they see just how much, like how well any particular black person is doing. Black people become the barometer for their success. As long as they're ahead of black people, they're like, okay, I'm good. But as soon as black people doing better than them, they get fucked up in the head. And black women look at black men the same way. They've been told that they're better than black men by every standard of measure. And so when black men are doing better than them, again, we go back to, I got to reevaluate myself. What's wrong with me? How am I not ahead of him? I must really be messed up. That's how they view it. I peeped this with the women, that would go. I remember I was in grad school and you would have women, I got my associates, man, they be smelling themselves. Yeah, when they were comparing themselves to Pookie. But then when you like, hey, I got this master's, man, they would get real uncomfortable. What's the problem? I mean, seriously, what's the problem? And it's like the female version of the Madonna whore complex. Where the Madonna whore complex are the men that, they want a woman to be sexy, but then the sexy woman kind of repulses them because, they assume that she's promiscuous. So then they want the woman that's a virgin for wifey material, but they don't like the fact that she's a prude or comes off as such. Or dresses homely as opposed to provocatively to stimulate his libido. And black women do the same thing with black men. It's just a different dynamic where they have the, I don't know what you want to call it, the Madonna whore complex. I guess it would be the the Pookie and corporate complex. I don't know what you would call it. Where they desire Pookie. They desire Pookie, but they don't like what comes with Pookie, which is usually, just dysfunction and disloyalty and all that stuff. But then when it comes to the guy that's established, there's aspects of him that they also like, but they don't like, the aspects of them being judged, the aspects of them having to live up to his standards, the aspects of, usually things are going to be going down on his foundation that he laid, where she doesn't have authority and doesn't have power. So you got black women that are like, have this sort of cognitive dissonance, right? With, the yin and the yang, the Pookie or the lame, and they don't know what they want to deal with, because to them, both of them have drawbacks, just the same as men with the Madonna whore complex. But see, the problem is, we give the Madonna whore complex a name. It actually has a name to it. But when it comes to this dynamic that women are doing, it hasn't been named. There's no name to it. There's no name for black women that are avoiding black men that have their shit together because they don't like the power dynamic. We haven't given that a name. There's no terminology. So when you speak on it, everybody just dismisses it because, that doesn't sound academic. They just brush it underneath the rug and act like, it's just some shit you made up, despite the fact that we have evidence and receipts of women engaging in this, just explicitly stating it. They feel some type of way when you as a black man are out here kicking ass. Again, you would think that they would find it sexy. You would think that they would be attracted to it. No, they're not. But the crazy thing is they still want your validation because you're in that position. And, the way that the overall society is structured is that who successful men choose matters, because who successful men choose essentially establishes and dictates the parameters of that which is valued. So if the successful men are out here choosing white women or Hispanic women or anything else, that's a problem, because it says that the value is outside of the parameters of black women. You see? And again, that would support colorism. But when you have these women that are avoiding these type of men because they don't like the power, how can they be chosen? How can they be chosen? And then you got to think of the fact that, everything's already in, black women's favor in terms of like the courts and child custody and everything. Those men that are in that position have to be extremely careful about who they choose, because they could be destroyed financially and economically, just simply because a woman files for no fault divorce because, she's got a hair in the crack of her ass, or like you heard with that woman with the 3 kids that actually got lucky and got with a man that was taking care of her and all her kids, to get up there and talk about what she doesn't like about him and how he's a sucker for even doing what he's doing. You see, like, again, a lot of the criticisms that black women, make, the stupid thing is, right, we only suspected it. Like when I first came online, these were only speculations, right? Things that were based off of like anecdotal evidence, right? Conjecture, that sort of thing, right? We didn't have the information to really like nail this shit down. But now we don't have to do anything. All I got to do is sit. I could literally sit on the internet and not do anything and just peruse the internet, and all of the content that I need to support my argument would just come to me. It would just come to me. Everything from the balloon, popping contest. Dude will be like, he'll be like, tell us your name. Yeah, my name is Dirk. I own an HVAC company and I'm an engineer and I just bought my first home. And then the women will be on there. Derek, what is your zodiac sign? Oh, I'm a Sagittarius. Sagittarius? Oh, I can't do that. Pop, 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 pop. Like, they disqualifying dudes off of the goofiest shit ever. Oh, I don't like the way his shoes are laced. I don't like his fit. Clothes can be changed, chick. You know what I mean? And I'm saying, but like, what happened to all the black women have the power of the glow up? Oh, when we get with white men, we turn them all into Robin Thicke. I'm like, so why can't you do that with the brother that's up there? You know what I mean? And I'll admit some of the guys fit, you know, this shit is off. But I'm like, isn't that what you do as a woman? Because y'all be on the internet bragging about how much you can do that for Brad, right? No, wear this, put this on, put this shirt. Oh, girl, get this cut. And he get the cut, and next thing you know, it's like, damn. You know, they be taking straight up squares and having dudes look like Lance Gross and shit. But nah, because I've watched these women do that shit on these balloon popping shows. If the dude got too much, if he's got too much going on, man, they just pop. It's like they want somebody who's just not quite there yet. They want somebody who they can, you know, they feel that they can like build up. That's the other angle that some women will come at it as, you know, where they're like, they want to build a nigga type of shit. They want a guy who's like 75% of the way there. That way they can come in, throw in their little 25% and then be like, he owes me and I did this and I built him. I was manifesting. Like, it's like, chick, he was at his last semester at Harvard. Yeah, but I was manifesting and that's why he graduated summa cum laude. Like, what? But yeah, Kaptansolo has been 100% vindicated. And let this, you know, take this video, copy it, you know, save it, share it, pin it on your wall, you know, because, I mean, there's no getting around this. I mean, point blank, period. She said what she said. And with that said, that's my video, SWP out. Don't forget to comment, share, like, and subscribe.
Move. Hold on.
Yeah.
Hello?
Where
Where we at? Oh, you want to know where I'm at? We outside!